yesterday? Anybody? Can anybody revise what we learned yesterday? Yeah, Saisha, please tell me what we learned yesterday.
So I didn't attend yesterday's class.
Okay, then go through the recordings today, okay?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Next, who can tell me? Harika, what we learned yesterday?
Yeah, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Hello. Sir, yesterday we learned about scalar functions, sir.
Scalar functions. Okay. And we
Today
started
we need to
using.
learn.
Go ahead. Okay, Tejasri, tell me the difference between user-defined functions and system-defined functions. What are the system-defined functions, why it is used, and what are the user-defined functions, and why we are learning user-defined functions?
So system-defined functions is which is defined by the system, sir. By the
The answer was like, what is aeroplane? Sir, the plane which flies in the air. Okay, you guys need to study a little detailed because you should answer me like you are answering in the interview, right? Will you say these two lines in the interview and do you think that you will get passed? You need to tell everything in detail, right? The system defined functions are already exist in the SQL, and to create those system defined function, many classes are already created in the SQL. So we don't need to give the syntax to create that system defined function. And these are the common use function. Now, user defined functions are created by the users to achieve their goal. Okay, and users will give the input parameters, and the users will define what kind of output we will get after executing that query. Okay, so let's move ahead. We yesterday finished and learned how we can create user defined scalar valued function, and today we will start with user defined table valued function. And in the table valued function, the first function is a inline or single valued table. Okay, so let me select the database. Yeah, already I selected. So inline slash single line table valued function. Now this inline slash single value table value single valued functions returns a table as a result of actions from given input parameters. Now in this inline table valued function, what we will get in the result? In the result, we will get table. Whereas in the scalar valued function, what we were getting? We were getting single value in the output, right? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Answer. Okay, that's easy for me. If you guys are not answering, that's very easy for me to complete the syllabus as soon as possible and say, okay, this is completed now. You can come for the mock, or even if you don't want to give the mock to me, you can give it to the some other trainer. Okay. I hope that you guys will be responding so that you guys will be understanding, and also I will be getting a real-time feedback. Either I'm
Sir,
going.
please, sir,
Uh-huh.
please once repeat the inline single. I didn't listen, sir.
Okay,
Please
great.
repeat.
So inline table valued functions is the first type of user defined table valued functions. Okay. So when we will write this inline table valued functions, that time we will get table as a result of the actions of given input parameters. Whereas in the scalar valued functions, we were getting single value in the output, and in the table valued functions, we will get the table value in the output. Okay. The value of the table should be derived from a single select statement. Now to get the table in the output, we will be deriving that table by using only single select statement. Let's see how we can create single line table valued functions. So the syntax is same. We will start with create or alter followed by the function name. Now I'm creating the function, so even I can simply write the create function, no problem. Okay, create function. So create function followed by the function name. So I'm giving the function name as a get employee details, and as I'm creating this function, so since yesterday what we are following, if we are creating any user defined function, then we are following with or we are starting with fn underscore. So my function name is fn underscore get employee details. Now, as the second line says that the value of table should be derived from a single select statement. That's why it is called as single line table valued function. Single line table valued function means as a, in the returns table we will see as a result, and it should be selected from a single select statement. So that's why it is called as single valued or single line table valued function. So I'm creating the function. So syntax will go like create function followed by the function name, and then we will be using single select statement here. So I'm passing here one variable called as at the rate address followed by the data type for the address varchar and character length to be 100. Then I'm closing it. Now in the returns I will write table. If you see, while creating the scalar value function, in the returns, we were returning data type of the return, but here in the table valued function, we will return table. Okay, we will return table, and this is the major difference where SQL in background will understand that this is the table valued function. If suppose I was giving here returns data type of the output, then user value, the SQL server will understand that it's a scalar valued function, not the table valued function. So whenever we are creating a table valued function, we will write table after this returns. Okay. Then we will begin with adds. Now while creating the scalar valued function, we were giving our logic inside begin and end as begin and end. But while creating the table valued function, we will start with only as. There is no begin and there is no end. So these are the two major differences while creating scalar valued function and the table valued function. So what is the first difference? First difference is that while creating table valued function, we will write table in returns and we don't have begin and end block to give the logic. We will simply start with as and then we will start with the return. Now what we need to return? We need to return a table, right? So in the table, what we want to view, like how many columns or which columns do we need to see, we will pass the column names. So I am using here select and I am first giving the column name uh, as a dbo dot fn underscore get employee full name. Now if you guys know, yesterday only we created this get employee full name function, and in to get this employee full name we had given at the rate first name and at the rate last name. So the same function I'm using here. I'm using here select dbo dot fn underscore get employee full name, and in this get employee full name I am passing employee first name in the at the rate first name and employee last name in the at the rate last name, and I'm giving column alias name as a full name. This is the first column I'm trying to retrieve, and in this get employee full name we need to give the first name and last name and it will concatenate. That is the logic of this scalar valued function that we created yesterday. So I'm taking this column first, then second I'm taking the salary column, third I'm taking the address column, and fourth I'm taking the employee date of birth. Now I think I don't have employee date of birth store because I haven't stored. So let me store the employee date of birth table first. Where is the employee date of birth table? Yeah. Yeah, created. Now, first which column I'm selecting? I'm using the function dbo.fn underscore get employee full name that we had created yesterday to get the employee full name from employee first name and employee last name. So this employee first name I'm taking from the employee table, and also employee last name I'm taking from the employee table, and I'm storing as a employee full name. Second column I'm giving salary column from the employee. Third column I'm giving address column from the employee, and last column I'm giving employee date of birth. Now where is this employee date of birth column present? It's present in the employee date of birth table. So now I'm trying to return the column where there are different columns from two different tables. So I need to join those tables together. So I'm writing here from employee, I'm giving alias name as a EMP, and then I will left join this employee date of birth table as EDOB, and then to perform the join we need to give the on condition, and in the on condition we will be writing same columns from these two different tables. So I'm writing from employee date of birth table I am taking employee ID column is equal to from employee table I am taking employee ID column, and now this is the variable I have defined at the rate address, right? So I need to equate this address with the value that is present in my table. So I'm equating with the where emp.address means from the employee table address column, I'm equating with this at the rate address. So now I will create this. Now you can see the table value function got created. And if I want to view where it got stored, then I can expand my database. In the SQL Jan database, under the programmability, we are having a functions, and in the functions, if I expand table valued function, you can see this table valued function got stored dbo.fn underscore get employee details. Is there any doubt in this how to create table valued function, and that too single line table valued function? And how is it different from the scalar valued function? Any doubt in this? If no doubt, then please create this single valued table line function. If no doubt, then this create this function. And once you created the function, let me know. Then I will tell you how to use this function, or how to call this function. I'm giving you 2 more minutes to write this syntax. Everyone is writing this syntax. And if there is any doubt, please ask me. Is anybody having any doubt? So I will repeat this once. I am creating single line table valued function. So I will start with the create function followed by the function name. Then, as you can see, while creating single line table valued function, we need to derive the table from single select statement. So I'm passing here only one variable parameter, that is @address is equal to varchar, and data type character, and I'm giving 100. So that if I'm calling address is equal to US, I can get all the employee details whose address is US. Okay. And in the returns, it will return the table, and the logic we will pass in the as block. We will not use the begin and end in the table valued function. And in the return, we are selecting this dbo dot function underscore get employee full name function that we created yesterday. And in this full name function, we need to pass employee first name and employee last name, and storing in the full name column. Then I'm taking the salary column, then I'm taking the address column, then I'm taking the employee date of birth column. Now, if you observe these column names, then these column names are from the two different tables. So I need to perform the left join to join these tables. So I'm taking from employee as EMP, and I'm left joining with the employee date of birth table as EDOB. And then I need to give the on condition to join the tables. So I'm using on. I'm selecting employee ID from employee date of birth table and equating with the employee ID from employee table. And I'm giving where employee address is equal to the address that we are passing. This is how we have created the function. And where will it get stored? It will get stored in our database, then programmability, then expand functions. And in the functions, we expanded table valued functions, and we can see here this table valued function that we created is stored here. Okay. Now it's time to call that. Now it's time to call the table valued function that we have created. How to call? So to call the table valued function, we will not use here dbo dot before calling the function name. If you see, when we were calling scalar valued function, we were using dbo dot. But when we are calling table valued function, we will not use this dbo dot. We can simply call it by using the name. So I will write select star from my function name, and this to get employee full employee details, which parameter I have passed. I have passed this address parameter, and at the end I have equated this address parameter with the address column from my employee table. So I'm writing here address as a US. So what do you think that after executing this query I will get? I will get the columns that I defined here. The first column I chose, get employee full name, and get employee full name will concatenate employee first name and employee last name, and will store in the full name column. So you can see the first column I'm getting as a full name, and it is concatenating employee first name and employee last name. Followed by second column was salary, third column was address, and last column was employee date of birth. And I am filtering by address, and address is equal to US. So I got all the details in this table where address is equal to US. Now suppose if I want for address is equal to India, I will replace this US with the India. And if I executed this, then I got all the details for the employees whose address is stored as a India. Got it? So in the table valued functions and scalar valued functions, how many differences are there? Three differences. First difference is that we will not return a data type here. We will return table. Second difference, while giving the logic for table valued functions, we will not write that logic in begin and end block. We will start writing logic after the adds. Okay. And third difference is that while calling table valued functions, I will not use dbo dot. I will directly use the function that we have created. Got it? Yeah. So call these functions and see the difference. If there is any doubt, please ask me. Okay. So this is a simple query I wrote. Select star from employee where employee ID is equal to 7. It will fetch me all the details where employee ID is equal to 7. That is a normal query from the employee table. But if you see in the table valued functions, I have taken the columns from two different tables. So I'm getting the values from two different tables. Okay. Any doubt in inline table valued function or single line table valued function? Any doubt, guys? No doubt. Anybody wants some time to write this, or shall I go ahead? Okay, I will go ahead. Yesterday I shared one Google form on the group. Please fill that Google form, because from that Google form I will be getting your email IDs and I will be giving you access of live class recordings. Okay. So please fill that Google form. Next and last type of function, and that to user defined function, is multi-line or multiple statement table valued functions. So let's learn how we can create this and how we can call this. So what is multi-line or multi-statement table valued function? It returns a table variable as a result of actions performed on the input parameters. That means you can see here, we will be defining table variable here, and we will get in the result on the basis of whatever the table variables that we are defining. The design of the table is explicitly declared and defined in the return section. So whatever we want to see in the output, we will be explicitly define that in the return section, and we can derive the data slash table using multiple SQL statement. In the single line function, we were using only one select statement to get the values in the returns, whereas in the multi statement table valued, we can use multiple SQL statement. Okay, so let's create, I'm creating one function called as function underscore get employee details ML, because already I'm having this function stored in my same system, get employee details, that we created to get the single value. Now I want to create the function to get the multiple values. So I'm giving the name as a fn underscore get employee details ML for multiple value. Okay, you can use any name, I'm using this name. Okay, then I'm giving here the first variable that is called as @employee ID, and I'm storing data type as an integer. Okay, then I'm returning table here, but to the returning table I'm giving a name to that table as a @emp. This is the new table, or this is the new table variable I'm passing here, and in this new table variable I'm storing these three columns. First column is an employee ID that will take integer data type. Second column as an employee full name that will take varchar data type, and third column is a salary that will take integer data type. Okay, so this is the table structure I'm giving here. For which table? For this declare table EMP. Now I will pass the syntax, or I will pass the logic that should give me in this EMP table. And to give the logic, I will begin with as begin. Now, if you see the difference in the single valued function, we were not giving our logic in this begin and end block, but in the multi-value functions, we are giving the logic in this begin and end block. These are the small changes in syntax you should remember, because in technical exam or in the interviews, they might ask you, tell me the difference in syntax to create scalar valued function, single valued functions, and multiple valued function. That time you need to tell these basic differences. Okay, then I will pass my logic in as and begin. Now as I am creating here new table called as EMP, and as I have declared my the structure of the table, I need to insert the values in my declared table, right? So I'm using here insert into statement, in which table I'm inserting @emp table. And in this EMP table, how many columns I'm having? There are three columns. First column is employee ID. Second column is a employee full name, and third column is a salary. Okay. So @emp, I declared employee ID first column, employee full name second column, and salary as a third column. Okay. Then I need to insert the values here, right? So I'm inserting values, select emp.employee ID. That means in this EMP table, declared table, I'm giving employee ID. I'm passing the employee IDs from which table? From employee table, all the employee IDs I'm passing here. Then in the employee full name column, I'm passing I'm using dbo.function get employee full name function that we created to get the full name. And this in this full name column, I'm passing all the employee first name, employee last name in this get employee full name, so that we can get the full name here. And in the salary column, I'm passing the salary. Now what I did, I created this table variable called as EMP, and in this table variable EMP, I have created 3 columns: employee ID, employee full name, and employee salary. And in this table, I'm passing all the values from this employee table. In the employee ID section, I'm passing all the employee IDs that are present in my employee table. In the employee full name, I'm using get employee full name function, and I'm giving employee first name and employee last name from this employee table only. And then I'm using this salary, or I'm giving the salary from employee table in this salary section. Okay. Now, from which table I'm passing these values? I'm passing these values from this employee table, and as I'm using here EMP as a alias name, so I need to give here employee as EMP as a alias name. Now, which value I'm not passing here? Where EMP dot employee ID is not equal to employee ID. Suppose if the values are equal to, then it will show these values. But if it is not equal to, then what to do? I'm using your function here, update at the rate EMP. If these employee IDs are not equal to, then it will update my declare table called as EMP. Now write the syntax till here so that I can explain you the next lines of code. First write the syntax till here. Everyone please write the syntax till here. And if there is any doubt, please ask me. Once it is done, please let me know. Yeah, I can explain one more time, no problem. As many times you can ask, I can explain. So Sirisha, were you present for the single line, like single statement table valued functions, or you joined late?
I didn't see single. I don't understand multi-lines.
You were there when I was explaining single value table function?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So in this multi-line or multi-statement table valued function, what we are doing, we are creating a new function called as fn get employee details ml. Okay, and I'm passing here one parameter at the rate employee ID is equal to, or employee ID, and I'm giving the integer data type. Then in the return, I am returning a table only, but in the return, I'm returning a new table. And I am declaring a table variable at the rate EMP. Now, if I am declaring a table variable, and this is a new table, then I need to give the table structure, right? So in this at the rate EMP new table, I'm passing employee ID column, data type integer, second column employee full name, data type varchar, and third column salary, data type as a integer. Okay. Now in the as begin section, after writing as and begin, I will give the my logic here. And in the logic, now as I'm creating a table variable and I'm declaring a new table here, I need to insert values in it, right? So I'm inserting values, insert into in this declared EMP table. There are 3 columns: employee ID, employee full name, and salary. Now in this employee ID column, I am inserting all the employee IDs from my employee table. In employee full name column, I'm using the scalar valued functions that we created yesterday to get the employee full name from employee first name and employee last name. And in the salary column, I'm passing all the salaries from my employee table. Got it? So this is defines what. Now I'm writing here where emp.employee ID is not equal to declared employee ID. Okay, so these employee IDs that we are passing here are not equal to the declared employee ID that we are declaring a parameter here. After that, we will update this table, update @emp. I'm setting salary is equal to 5,000 where employee ID in 2, 4. Now, if you see here, this employee ID is consisting all the employee IDs from my employee table. And what am I doing? I'm updating this EMP table and I'm setting salary is equal to 5,000. For which employee I'm setting? Where employee ID in 2, 5. So these are the update changes will be done in this declare table EMP, not in our original table called as employee. This needs to be understood. Let me tell you. Yeah. Then I'm performing one more operation here, delete @emp, and I'm deleting all the records where employee ID in is equal to 6, 3. And then I'm inserting new record here, insert into @emp, selecting 100 as an employee ID, employee first name as a full name as a Dinesh, and salary as a 2,000. And then I'm returning this and closing this. Let me execute this and I will call these functions. You will understand it. So now commands completed successfully, and where it will be stored? It should be stored in the SQL. Then in the table valued functions, it should come here. Let me refresh it once. In the programmability, in the functions, and in the table valued function, you can see this get employee details multi table valued function got stored here. Okay, now let's call it. Now, which parameter I'm passing here in this multi-line function? I'm passing
Employee ID.
@employee ID, right? So while calling that, I will pass the employee ID, and only while calling your scalar valued function, we will write dbo dot. For table valued function, we can simply follow the table valued function name. Okay, so I'm writing here select star from table valued function fn underscore get employee details ml where employee ID is equal to 4. So if I execute it, then I will get employee ID is equal to 4 records. Just a minute. Well, I will get all the records except employee ID 4. 1, 2, you can see 4 is missing, 100, 5, 7, and 8. Now, why 4 is missing? Because I have created a multi-line table valued function, and I said that where employee ID is not equal to this employee ID, where employee table employee ID is not equal to @employee ID. So it will return all the values except the employee ID that we are passing. And why it is returning? Because we have defined this is not equal to this employee ID. If I write is equal to, then it will give me the value for that particular employee ID only. And as I'm writing here not equal to, so it will give me the values except this employee ID 4. Even if I pass here, suppose 100, now we inserted one record here with the employee ID 100. And if I executed this, then you can see, okay, just a minute. Now this is inserted in the EMP table, so it will show. If let me go with this employee ID 2 that is present in my employee table, then you can see it is keeping that second value employee ID and it is printing all other values than employee ID 2. This is how this multi-line function works. So write this syntax. I hope that you might have written till here, right from this update and call this function and view it. Okay. Yeah. So now the last topic remaining from this is, okay, let's learn. Now everybody knows, right, how to view the syntax that we created to create any function. If suppose I want to view the syntax that we wrote to create any function, then we are having system defined function called as sp underscore help text followed by the function name. If I executed this, then I will get the complete syntax that I use to create these functions. Okay, so that suppose any function is created 2 or 3 years back, and if you want to make some changes in it, or if you want to update that function, then you need to understand that what the older syntax and where you can make the changes to get the desired output. So this sp underscore help text is the function that is used to get the syntax for employee details or any function that we are creating. Now, how can we drop these created functions? To drop these created functions, we are having a function called as drop function. So if I select and if I execute it, then it will drop the function. Okay. To create function, we are having create function syntax. To alter function, we are having alter function syntax, and to drop function, we are having drop function syntax. So if I executed this drop function, command completed successfully, that means it's dropped. And if you want to see whether it's dropped or not, refresh it once, expand this SQL database, expand these tables, and then go to the programmability here, and in the programmability expand function and table valued function, you can see that get employee details ml table or the table function got dropped here. Okay. So the next and last point is a case statement. So shall we learn case statement today itself, or shall we learn case statements on Monday? What do you say? Shall we see the case statement on Monday? Because we will be largely using those case statements.
Yes, sir.
Case statements are actually used to, filter a column. Suppose I'm having a column called as salary, and I want to give the grades as per the salary. Like suppose the person who is having salary less than $2,000, I will write grade as a C. The person who is having salary in between 2,000 to 4,000, I want to write grade B. And the person who is having salary more than 5,000, if I want to give the grade A, then I can use those case statement to give the grades to the any columns. Okay. So we will learn these case statements on Monday. So please revise once all the functions or all the things that we learned in this module 3. Okay. So thank you so much for joining this class then. Have a good day. See you on Monday.